lovely to talk to you, Sharon. I've been following your content on City for years and years and years. And your cats.
Oh, thank you very much.
And your cats, more important.
Oh, trust me, the cats will probably interfere at some point.
Bring them on, they're part of the show. Bring them on.
Honestly, look.
I hope one's called King Clancy and the other one's called Belle. I'd be very disappointed if they're not, Sharon.
No, one's called Mouse and one's called Cat.
I like that. That's clever. I like that.
Seriously, it's Cat and Mouse.
That is brilliant.
And Mouse is the little one that I got for Mother's Day because my other cat, was called Smudge and he was 27.
Wow.
27 years old and he died the week before lockdown.
Oh.
So my youngest lad, Nick, said, "Hey, Mum, I bought you a new kitten." And then literally as he brought it, lockdown happened. So I got a 3-month-old kitten just as lockdown started. And then I got coronavirus.
Well, how are you feeling? I've noticed this. How have you been? How have you been since?
I'm not 100% at all, but I have got lung capacity now and I've got a voice because at one point I literally had no voice. But I can't walk any further than the end of the garden without literally losing my breath. Why have you got that hideous picture up behind you? I hate you for that.
Oh, we love that picture, Sharon. It's amazing.
It's on my wall up there.
It's not, is it? It is.
Yeah. Yeah. When I left City, all the photographers signed the frame. I don't know if you can see it, but they signed the frame and gave it me as a present, as a leaving present.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks for ruining our perfect shot.
Yeah, it was a bit of that. Hey, don't laugh. It took me a good 18 months to win favour with them because you got to remember, I ran the whole of the city sort of like photography element. So that meant authorising people coming in and out the stadium for photography, and they were just honestly they hated me at one point. And I'd only been in full time in the club. I'd freelanced with the club for many years before, but I'd only been full time for like 12 months as a permanent fixture. And then on our first big thing, what did I do? Fuck it up. And there's no bigger way to fuck it up than how I did it, is there?
That's amazing. Oh.
My ass is on your shoulder, mate. I love it.
When you turned round, you just see like swaves of photographers like this.
No, it was better than that. I got rugby tackled to the floor by a security guy. I swear by Almighty God, I couldn't hear them. And everybody was screaming behind me because it was literally, as the bottle was being shaken and the lifting was going up, I was just stood there. So this guy just ran on the pitch, this security guy, and threw me on the floor.
That's brilliant.
Oh.
So I was literally dragged off, kicking and screaming. I'm like, "What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? I'm going for this." And then I turned around and I was like, "Oh." And I saw all these faces like flicking the V's and everything. I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Yeah, but that photograph you had was mint afterwards, so...
it was good. Yeah, but I had to give it to everybody.
Yes, yeah, of course.
I couldn't have the exclusive on it because I'd fucked up. So.
Now, Tom, were you at that game?
The FA Cup? Yes, yeah. And
you didn't see Sharon getting rugby tackled, or
I was quite drunk and celebrating, to be honest with you, pal. This is the second trophy lift, isn't it? They do the first one at the box, don't they? And they come down to the pitch.
Yeah, this was on the this was on the pitch. Yeah. But you see, the one in the box, the one where it's up in the stand, you can't actually get that shot as a photographer unless you're the club photographer or get it. So you're not allowed to photograph that. So this one on the ground was the only one the photographers were allowed to shoot, and I screwed it up for them.
Oh, bless your socks.
All called enthusiasm, isn't it? It's enthusiasm, and I was enthralled by the moment. And Tevez was driving me insane because he kept putting the lid on his head and waving at me and all the rest of it. And I walked on the pitch with them. What the hell?
Yeah, it's mental that. It's a cracking story, Sharon.
Oh, there's plenty of them. Trust me.
Do you ever think to yourself when they look at how they built Wembley? With the old Wembley, I'm lucky enough to have been to the old Wembley. I went a couple of times. Watch England, and for me, I love the steps going up, and I curse the builders that they've not done similar thing, going up the stadium, up the stairs, going across, collecting the trophy, and down the stairs again. They kind of have to go behind, don't they? Go up again, and It just seems rubbish to me, that. I don't understand why
I think I agree with you. They should have stuck with the original build because it was more traditional, wasn't it? And it had sort of like a uniqueness to it. Whereas now it just feels like another big stadium.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We're just used to it now, though, aren't we? That's the problem.
Yeah, we've got our old time.
Nice. I love it.
When did you start with City, Sharon?
I started freelancing 2008.
Right, okay. Crikey,
and I freelanced and did home games, and then after a while, and I sort of like made friends with some of the people in the PR department, the press department, and in the content for the website, a guy called Chris Bailey.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Chris. Yeah.
Chris Bailey's a legend. Chris came up to me one time when I was doing all these home games, and he came up to me and said, "We're going to be doing some features in these magazines. We've got City magazine." He said, "So we're going to do some features and some interviews. Do you want to come and do some photos with us there?" I was like, "Yeah." So my first off-site interview when I did pictures for was with Stevie Ireland.
We were just talking about him.
Yeah, and we went to his house and we did a full interview set up for City TV as it was back then, and we did all these photographs, and I got on with him so well. I got him to take his top off, and we got all the tattoos and everything, and showing us around his house with his fish tank. Yeah, it was cool.
Did he have a questionable car at some point, a pink Hummer or something? Was the rumors?
Yeah, and he also had I think it was, I don't know if it was a white Porsche or it was a white fancy sports car, but it had Superman on the wheels and Superman on the front.
Love him.
Genuinely, he's such a nice bloke. Yeah. He's such a nice man, and he was a funny character as well. I really enjoyed that, and that was the first non-football game thing I did for him. And then slowly but surely, because they got used to me doing things like that, they started inviting me to Carrington to shoot sort of like press shoots, and when they were doing press conferences there in the little porter cabin, they got me going doing that. And then I got this message saying, got this message from Chris Bailey again saying, we're going to be needing a full-time photographer. Do you think you'd apply for the job? And I said, yeah. And he said, I think there'll be a lot of applicants, and there were 55.
Wow.
And I got it.
Right,
and I think that was down to the fact that, one, I'd had so much time doing that since 2008. So I got full-time employment there in 2010. So I was taken on as the official club photographer then in 2010. And I was the first ever female Premier League club photographer, which, if you think about it, that was only 10 years ago. That's quite wrong.
Yeah.
10 years ago,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a long time ago, really, is it? Yeah, crikey. So
I mean, it was a massive honour, and to get that, and you know, I'm not a conventional type of sports photographer. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of music stuff in the past. I've done a lot of other stuff, and before I was doing freelance at City, I was doing freelance at other clubs like Bolton and Bury and Blackburn and all these different clubs, and even non-league clubs. I did Blue Square League. I did all sorts of different things. So I've not gone a conventional football route. It was quite fluky.
I'm looking at the squad from 2008, 2009. There were some hell of characters there when you came on board. How did you survive?
Well, the thing is, let's be honest, I ain't a girly sort of like sweet girl. And I think that helped. I think I had to be as strong and as bold as they were. And I realised if I treated them all like my kid brothers, because I'm also a lot older than them as well. And I think that helped. And I can give as good as I can get as well. So
yeah,
I think you need to be that sort of character in football in general, because they are all very, very pranksterish. More so with that team, because there's some proper characters in it.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I'm just looking about, you're talking about pranking and stuff like that. Carlos Tevez putting stuff on his head and things like that. Who was your first couple of years? Who was your favourite? I was going to say who's your favourite player. That's really hard. I'm sure you
impossible.
Yeah, I'm sure. What the main memories that you remember from your first proper year doing it? Did they make you feel welcome? Did they give you an hard time?
All of them did. I mean, Joe Hart from the start was always one that really, really wound me up. One of his classic things was to give me the finger all the time so that I couldn't use the picture. It was funny, but it got really annoying as well. But yeah, there was a lot of pranks went on, a lot of pranks, and a lot of stuff like Carlos was so funny. Carlos Tevez was so funny. He used to do all sorts of stuff. He'd hide my camera lens. Yaya would constantly aim the ball to try and kick the ball at the camera. Loads of things, honestly, loads of things. And then obviously when Mario came and it just went boom, didn't it? You know,
Did you ever get your camera lens back?
No. Do you know what? It's really weird because the way that was shot, the video was shot, it looked like he took the lens. It wasn't. It was actually my lens hood. So it's the lens hood he took. He didn't take the lens off the camera, but the lens hood actually stops you getting any reflection or glare into the lens as well. So it's an important piece. But I have no idea where he put it. He could have stuck it. I think he must have stuck it down his trousers because when he walks through the door, he's got two hands empty. So where the flipping hell is it?
Oh, Mario.
It's an odd one. Yeah, Mario, yeah. But I mean, before Mario, in that 2019, you had the likes of Micah, and Micah's laugh was enough to sort of just annihilate everybody. Once he started laughing, you were done. You couldn't... There was nothing you could do. So like kit shoots and all that sort of stuff that, you know, we started to do behind the scenes galleries for at Carrington, because that was the first sort of start of City TV as well, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
My little galleries were snippets of what was going on in the boot room and what was going on in the gym, because I got access in there, which was brilliant. And no club was doing that, so it was just... I was getting to see the live pranks and the jokes that were going on straight away, and hopefully getting that atmosphere out to the fans as well. I just kept thinking, what would I want to see as a fan? And that's what in my head I would do. I would try and go and think, right, well, can I catch Carlos Tevez on a bike with his shoes on or off or whatever? So
I must have changed so much from before City to joining City and then the subsequent years afterwards. From a commercial point of view, you must have seen so many different and learned so much as a photographer.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievably. I mean, you were learning on the job all the time, because it's not like... Because, you're doing training every day, you do home games, you do away games, but then there's all things like charity shoots. So when they go and do charity events, certain players would go to a kid's school and stuff like that, so you'd be doing a documentary-style photography. You'd have to do a new kit shoot. So every time a new kit was launched by Umbro or Nike or whoever, you had to sit with Nike and Umbro and talk through what they wanted to achieve and what the club wanted to portray. So it was so many elements to one's job. It wasn't just sports. It was all sorts of things rolled into one.
I hope you got some freebies.
Do you know, upstairs I've got 7 shirts and 2 pairs of tracky bottoms and three tracky tops.
Love it.
All with the old badge on all, though.
Oh, you need to get yourself back involved, don't you, and get a new one.
I mean, this one...
A whole new set of kit.
Or the Eagle.
I've got all the Eagle stuff, because it was all Eagle back then, but I like the circular one.
Yeah.
I prefer it.
This will always be the one for me.
Yeah, it's the proper City emblem, isn't it?
Yeah. With the FC on, I don't mind what they've done now, but the FC for me is where it's at.
I agree.
Agree.
But the Eagle thing was always a bit, but all my kit was Eagle kit. So, and I've got some Umbro stuff as well. I love the Umbro stuff.
Yeah.
I think that shirt that we won in 2012 when it first was shot, everybody was like, "What the hell is that?" And the Umbro were like, "No, trust us, it's gonna make history, this shirt," and they were right.
Yeah. Have you seen rumours? Have you seen pictures of the new kit supposedly for next season?
Yeah.
The swimming pool kit. What's your thoughts?
I don't say anything until I've actually seen it in the flesh.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. No, I get that.
Because I just think if you look at it and you look at it as a photograph and it's not on somebody's body, it's just completely different when you see it on somebody's body.
Yeah.
I remember opening up boxes and boxes of kit and thinking, what the hell is this? Who's going to look good in this? And then you put it on a football and you go, damn, that's good.
Yeah, they've got the body for it as well, though. That's the problem.
That's it, isn't it? us middle-aged morons wearing football shirts. Not a good look. It's not attractive.
I want to talk to you about what managers were like with you when you were doing this work. Were they? Did they see you as like a necessary evil, or did they involve you in the everyday stuff to like help you out?
I think.
Were you kind of like in the background, just doing your job without interfering with them?
Yeah, I think the thing was with each different management structure that came in. So I was there when Mark Hughes was there, and he's a very sort of quiet, gentle type of man. Such a gentleman, very, very gentle, very nice, very, very unassuming sort of character. And I didn't have much to do with him because I wasn't full-time employed then, so I wasn't there every day. But then when Mancini came along, I had to make sure that I didn't get in his way, but I was doing him a favour as well, so to speak, because he liked the press. He liked to look good. Yeah. So when I was taking pictures of him and they were appearing in the papers, he was like, you can come over here and stand with me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You can come and do this. So I got to know him, and just bear with me. I will brush my hair. But I mean, he was a different sort of character then to Manuel. So when Manuel and his team came along, again, I had to bed myself in with him in a courteous sort of way because he was a different sort of character. So it's all about relationship building, and I think you speak to any sort of photographer like this, and 80% of what you do is relationship building because you've got to gain trust. You've got to let them understand that you're not there to make them look bad. You want to get the best out of them and do right by them as well. So you can have all the technical knowledge in the world, but if you're a bit of a dickhead, nobody's going to want the picture taken by you.
Yeah.
If you're, if you're a knobhead with the players, they're not going to look at you. They're not going to have a laugh with you. They're not going to like you. So you're not going to get the best out of the photographs. So it's all about personality, I think, to doing that sort of photography work.
And how long were you at City for?
I left when Pep came.
So that's
2008 to 2016.
Yeah. It's quite testament, really, to how well you got on with the players and management then to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? It was a hard decision to leave, because I could have stayed there and finished my life off at City. I'm not being cocky, but I probably could have stayed there forever. But I knew I had other stuff to do, and creatively, each year sort of gets the same, and it gets exhausting, and I'm very old and very fat and very unfit. And sitting out in the rain for every game, your body, honestly, 90 minutes crouched in a little pit when it's pissing down with rain, and your kit's wet through and you're wet through, and every day it got harder. And as I say, I'm not going to lie, I'm 54, so it's like it was tough going. So I thought,
you've kind of done that bit now.
Yeah, and I knew my passion in music photography and the other stuff that I wanted to do. I thought, I'll go and do that. I'll go and do it. So
yeah, I really want to come on to the music photography bit in a bit. You're a Blue, aren't you? You're a City fan by...
Yeah.
Will you ever... I've asked somebody... I've had a conversation with friends and family where they said, your perfect job would be working for City, wouldn't it? And my immediate reaction is, yeah, absolutely. But the back of my mind, thinking to myself, you know that phrase where you don't never meet your heroes because they might turn out to be a dickhead? Were you ever concerned about that before we're going into City, thinking, actually, they might just turn into a corporate beast that's a bunch of dickheads just out to make money, and it might ruin my opinion of City? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. It's different working for the club than being a fan. It does change your opinion of football in general, not just of your club, because you see what goes on full stop.
Yeah.
But actually, working with the players was never anything traumatic. It was nothing but an absolute pleasure and a joy. Nobody disappointed me. And everybody says, you've got to have one. One must have been a knobhead. Honestly, I joke not. Every single one of them, from, Samir Nasri to Mario to Joe to Carlos, who very rarely smiled, James Milner, all of them absolute legends in their own way, all individual characters, all blended. And especially that 2011-12 team, it was such a gelled team. And there was some key characters, your Nigel de Jongs, your Joes, your Micahs, your Jolie Lescotts, all jokers. And then you've got that head of it all, Vincent, who's just an absolute god in his own right. But I also think one of the key things is not to put them on a pedestal. And, you know, there were certain occasions where I was like, oh my God, I'd have to pinch myself and think, Shaz, you're in the changing room at Wembley. What the hell, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's other occasions where I think, well, these guys just take a shit like me anyway. What's your problem?
Yeah.
So you got to be realistic. But also, ultimately, I'm a professional photographer. I absolutely love what I do. I'm always blessed that I wake up in the morning, I can take photographs. And back then I was taking photographs of Manchester City. It doesn't get any better than that. So I had a double whammy, but I never did anything, and it never sort of overwhelmed me because I just thought, just get on with this. It's just wonderful.
Yeah,
live the dream, really.
I've talked about this a lot on the page and with Tom, etc. So I know Sharon from 10 years ago. We met when Manchester City did their North American tour, and they used Nike headquarters, which is literally around the corner from where I live.
Good old Portland.
Here in Portland, Oregon. And it's interesting what you said about Mancini, because, you know, as you know, Sharon, you were all here for 2 weeks, and I got to know you and Chris and Mike Russell, who I think's the head of City TV now.
Yeah, he's an incredible character.
All the players, you mentioned Stephen Ireland, you know, Vinny was there. Like, there's this, you know, Manc fan standing there for 2 weeks, you know, with his little kids running around, just absolutely in his element. And everyone was so nice, because I think they just knew that, well, I was just a huge City fan, and I was just a little bit overawed and starstruck, and just wanted to meet them. The only person that whole 2 weeks, Sharon, who I was afraid to go and meet was Mancini, because I don't know if you remember, he just seemed to have this look the whole 2 weeks in Portland that you were here, that he was all about business.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I mean, that was it. Yeah.
And
on the training pitch, he was always business. And to be honest with you, he wasn't a jokey sort of character. He wasn't, you know, he didn't say much, but he was, you know, he was there, and he was the boss, wasn't he? And that I think that's the respect he gained. He was the boss. That was it. Unlike other managers, you know, different sort of character.
Yeah, it was interesting to me that I got the feeling from Mancini that those 2 weeks he was here, that he was absolutely determined to bring a trophy back to Manchester City that season. And we did, you know, we won the FA Cup 9 months later, but I just got this vibe from him the whole 2 weeks there, that this was business, and we're going to lift this curse, you know, after 36 years, you know, we'll do anything to get there. Like, he was so bang serious. I don't know if you remember this, Sharon, because you were right there. So Gary Cook was there, our chairman at the time. And I had my son with me, Alfie. And Gary Cook, again, was just so nice to everyone. And he takes one look at Alfie and says, "Who's your favourite player?" And Alfie says, Adebayor. And the next thing, Mancini's assistant walks onto the training pitch and gets Adebayor and says, come and have some photos taken.
That's right.
And look on Mancini's face of horror, that how dare someone go on his training pitch and take this photo. And I'm looking at Roberto Mancini like, no, like, the chairman said we could do this. I'm not pitch invading, honestly.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, don't blame me, honestly. Like, I'm good. Don't throw me out. But again, it was just that he just had this bit between his teeth, I think. And I don't know if did you see that during that season as well, Sharon, where we won the first trophy?
I think he was brought in a way to figurehead that club at the time as it was, because we brought all those players in. We've got the Yayas coming in, and we've got all those. David Silva was coming in, so he knew he had to do something. And I think it was a case of him plus the way that team gelled. I can't go on about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was the players that won those trophies. It was the players' true grit and determination. Steered, yes, at the helm by Mancini, but honestly, they worked as a unit, and it was a pleasure to watch them train, and it was a pleasure to see the determination as we went further and further in. And that 2011 FA Cup, I mean, that was just phenomenal. But after that, that realisation of what else can we do as this team, it just got better and better. It was phenomenal. So, yeah, at the helm, you've got the Mancini, but honestly, collectively, I'm going to say this outright, I think they'd have done it even without him because they were such a good unit.
Yeah, we have a bit of an ongoing argument right now that could Mark Hughes have, if he'd stayed, if he would have taken us to that next level of winning a trophy, or did we really need Mancini, that larger than life character to lead them? It's a interesting question, isn't it?
I think, putting it out there honestly, I just think sometimes you get a set of players, and you can look at this in different clubs and different places, you just get a set of players that are so well together and work so well together on and off the pitch that I think it just happens magically in a certain way, and it did do. Yeah. So would Mark Hughes probably be able to do it with those players? Probably, yeah.
Interesting. Well,
I can't tell you enough how much of a band of brothers and how tight they were. And seeing that from the inside as well. I'm not bullshitting it. It is genuine.
Yeah.
You saw what each one of them were like individually and as a unit, and it was strong, very, very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 weeks of it, Sharon, obviously, but the 2 weeks I saw with them and you and everyone else, there was never a cross word. They just seemed to generally have a good affection for each other. All the players, all the coaching staff and everyone just seemed to be in this. I know we hate this cliche word project, but they were in this together.
Yeah, it was special, and then it was special when we won that trophy, and then it was special when we had the Aguero situation. It just carried on from there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Portland trip was just epic anyway. I had such a good time in Portland. I've got such fond memories of Portland. I've got fond memories of the place itself. That Nike headquarters was phenomenal. And I've stayed friends with 3 of the people who worked at Nike at that time. The Nike staff were absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've stayed friends with them from that amount of time. So it just shows that was a magical pre-season, and off we went.
Yeah, I just remember, I was just saying to Tom before we started that I remember, that Nedum Onua, Micah Richards.
Oh, Nedum, we love Nedum. Oh.
And they all were just looking round this Nike headquarters. I mean, they've obviously trained in some amazing places, and they were just looking round like, this is...
Yeah, and do you not remember, they put that big canopy on one of the buildings, the blue moon on one of the buildings in the background. So me and Michael Russell got a cherry picker, and we were looking for some wide shots with this blue moon thing on this building in the background. It was just unbelievable. And it was like, wow, where the hell are we here? It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And then I remember some of the science guys that were doing like all these advanced techie things came down to the goalkeepers one day and gave the goalkeepers, Shay and Joe, some of these weird glasses that they had to put on. And it was like high-tech city. It was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So these glasses, I think, gave you a different sort of vision when you were going for the goal, when you were going for the balls. It was bizarre. It was unreal. But Portland itself is beautiful.
Yeah. And
I've been lucky to go back since. I've been back since. I went through Portland to go on tour when I was on tour with Noel. Yeah. And I love the mixture. I stopped off specially just to spend a couple of days there. I love the mixture of the old and the new. 1 minute you're walking down past all these beautiful antique shops on the front where the water is, and then bang, you're up at the top and it's all modern. You can't bend it. It's ace.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky here where we live. And honestly, this is my home away from home, that it's really not dissimilar to Manchester, as in it's about the same size, like about 1 million people if you add the suburbs in as well. And the weather is
that's what you've got over Manchester, mate. You've got all the weather.
Yeah. So I don't mind it at all. I think it's lovely here. I still miss Manchester greatly, but Portland isn't a bad alternative.
God, is it heck? It's amazing. Love it.
Yeah. If only could bring City over there for you, pal, that'd be a dream, wouldn't it?
I don't think it's going to happen now. Pep came here when he was manager of Bayern Munich, and they didn't use the Nike headquarters. They used where the Portland Timbers do their training, which is about 30 minutes outside of Portland in a place called Tualatin. and it's owned by Adidas, and they were there for 3 or 4 days. But that was all secured down. You couldn't get near the place.
Yeah,
with that.
we had, I think, didn't we have sort of like 3 or 4 open training sessions that you guys were allowed into? Yeah. The 2 weeks that we were there, I think it was 3 or 4. I remember Wayne Bridge and Bellamy and all those guys were there at that time.
I got the and we signed one of your personal favourites, Sharon, Koloff, while you were here in Portland, and he didn't make it out to Portland, but we signed him from Lazio. While Chris Bailey was saying, "Oh, we're going to be announcing something in the next couple of days," and Koloff signed while you guys were in Portland.
The man who changed my life. Who made it a pleasure to go to work every day.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was a pleasure to go to work every day, but Koloff was just nice to look at.
Yeah, he gets quite a lot of likes when you post a photo of him on your Twitter feed.
Oh, yeah. Not just from the ladies. Can I just point that out? Not just from the ladies. A man can appreciate a good male figure.
Yes. And he was very nice with me, Sharon, as well. I don't know if I ever told you this. One of my trips back to Manchester, he lived in Hale. That's where my brother-in-law lives, in Hale as well. And we were walking to a bar one night, and he was driving his car, almost knocked me down, but I didn't see who was driving. And then the same car pulled up at a cash machine. And, I've been chunnering.
Koloff.
Bloody fella. I nearly knocking me over, didn't even apologise. And then Koloff jumps out of the car to get some cash out. And, I just kind of walked up to him. Can I have a photo with you? Do you mind? And, just absolutely couldn't have been nicer to me. Yeah, no problem. Blah, 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 blah. Didn't give me any of the cash. He just got out of the machine. He had the photo with me. Yeah, very nice man.
Honestly, that whole Serbian angry front, there's a pussycat underneath it.
Born mobster, straight into family somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, what a set of characters. At one point when we had Stefan Savic.
Savic, yeah.
Yeah, we had Savic, we had Zeko, and we had Koloff. It was just unbelievable. And I remember that we were in, that was another pre-season in LA, we had all them 3. And I remember taking this shot during training. And we were in this training ground of this university, and I think that the university team was called the Lions or something. And I remember taking this shot, and on the scoreboard was in the background. It had all 3 of them. It had Savic, Edin, and Koloff, and it was like a great shot. It was totally natural. Nothing. They didn't know I was photographing them. Great shot, and in the background, it just got the Lions literally right next to them. I was just like, "That's an epic line in the background."
Brilliant.
You've posted a picture on your Twitter. It was about a week, 2 weeks ago. And it was all the lads back in the day. Yaya Toure, Kompany. We're doing the training routine, in everyone's laughing except Vincent Kompany, who looks like the steely-faced assassin. And you've either done this picture on purpose because it makes him look like the ultimate captain, and everyone else is like following behind it. What was he like as a? Was he an obvious captain within the players, or did he have the laughy jokey side to him as well on the pitch with the lads?
He's got a tremendous sense of humour, but business is business.
Yeah.
He did it all in the right way and all at the right time and the right places. The players knew exactly they could go to him. The players knew how to respect him, when to respect him. He commanded such grace and intelligence as well in everything that he did. But yeah, he's got a cracking sense of humour.
Yeah.
But always about business.
He does seem, when he talks, you listen, obviously, but he just seems like such a top bloke, doesn't he?
Honestly. And his family, he's got the most amazing, wonderful family. I was involved with his testimonial game. It was wonderful. And it was such a pleasure because it was just what he deserved and what he should have got. But yeah, it was definitely a business-headed person on the pitch, on the training ground. Great sense of humour off the pitch, off the training pitch. Well.
Yeah, it's great for you to confirm that because it's kind of one of those questions you ask.
An amazing hugger as well.
Yeah.
He gives the most incredible heartfelt hugs. Him and Joe Hart are the 2 best huggers. They're just, whether it's because they're so big as well, I don't know.
I've just got this image of you standing at the training ground, and they've got to get past you, but you need a hug first. You're not getting.
I used to do that a lot. Yeah, I used to do that a lot. People used to take the mick on because they still do it. I mean, you get trolls and all the rest of it. You get used to it. But every year when they come back from, the breaks, and they come back ready for training, they'd come to Carrington just before we'd go off on pre-season somewhere. So we'd have like 4 or 5 days getting back into it, getting your training kit, and then we'd all get on a plane and go wherever the pre-season was. So City TV would always film the players arriving. And there was always loads of hugs and, "Hi, Shaz, how's it going? Oh, missed you, blah, blah, blah." So the trolls would be like, "Oh, God, what's she doing? Why didn't she just leave them alone?"
Yeah, but I love that. I love that personal side of it. And were you ever told to put Koloff down?
On a regular basis. And also, I'd get told by Koloff to stop photographing me in my underpants. But you will walk around in just your underpants, Alex.
Yeah, but when you're doing it from across the road from his house, it's a bit different.
No, it didn't get that
bad. That's amazing. I love that. The overseas trips must have been brilliant for you. It must have been really hard work.
Yeah, I'm
assuming you all went on the plane together and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Again, you've got to remember I was documenting everything I could, and sometimes you have to be careful to put the camera down and pick it up at the right times. Because when you're on a plane or a long-haul flight, some of them don't look great, don't want to, "Sharon, put the camera down." And we went to Australia. I mean, Jesus, that was a slap. So you have to be so careful, and you are working 7 days a week. And especially on pre-season. So I work 7 days a week a lot. But on pre-season tours, even it was every training session, it was every evening session, it was in between meals, it was everything I could capture just to make sure fans could see what was going on back home. Because once you started doing it, fans expected it and wanted more as well. That was the thing. Yeah. So you sort of make a rod for your own back. So you got to stay in the moment all the time. So there was late nights, and also you shoot a game and you've got like 1,000, 2,000 photos to get through quickly, get back to the press in the UK, and get galleries put together for websites. So you'd finish the game and you'd spend 3 hours after that trying to sort stuff out.
Do you ever think to yourself when you look back, and I see the City Backroom staff having a bit of a personality now, and I think you've got a bit of blame, or not blame, but a bit of help towards
nice.
Because I look at like the likes of Les Chapman and I can't remember the young lad's name.
Brandon,
yeah.
And I see more and more in the shots from the kit lads and stuff like that, or the backroom staff. And was that a purpose thing from the club's point of view, or did you want to get that involved? Do you know what I mean?
I just felt, and the players as well, the kit men, the medical team, everybody that supported them were part of the team.
It just seems as though still.
Yeah, it was.
You were working there.
And how can you not get involved with the likes of Chappie?
It looks like a legend, doesn't he? It looks like a legend.
Chappie is a total legend. The guy was a professional footballer. The guy was an epic bloke, full stop. So to have that sort of character in your dressing room, and his relationship with Brandon's like his little son, he was just amazing. So yeah, we had to capture that. That had to be put out there because the players all loved him as well.
Yeah.
So that was, and then it rolled on into the medical team. It rolled on to other members, like even to the coach drivers and stuff like that. And when video was then getting involved, there was more and more of those characters coming out because it was video.
Brilliant. No, from a fan's perspective, to not just because I love seeing the whole picture. I love seeing the City family, and to see other sides of it as well. It endears you more to the club when you're seeing actually everyone seems decent.
Exactly. You got to remember that those players won't be on the pitch without good kit. Those players won't function or win trophies if the medical team aren't looking after them. So they're all key and they're all integral parts, even down to the ladies that wash the kit. I remember Noel Gallagher walking round and having a tour of the Carrington training facilities. And the two ladies in the laundry, Noel went over to them and he was like, "Oh, ladies, my God, how much kit do you wash?" And proper chatting to them. And he said, Chaz, come and take the photo. So I've got a photo of Noel with both of the little washer ladies, kit washing ladies. And that was it. It's a family. It is, you know. it was a family, and it's nice to work in that sort of environment. And also, like you say, let the fans see that that's real.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, from my perspective, 100% I do. So how many Christmas parties have you been to where you've had to delete photographs?
Every one of them. Every one of them.
I bet you've seen some of the sites, Sharon, where you just think, you know what, if this was in the paper tomorrow, we'd be...
Honestly, there's pictures that I've not deleted any of them. I'm not going to lie to you. I've still got them. And there's pictures from dressing rooms. There's things from, you know, celebration parties that will stay with me forever. And, you know, I would never, ever jeopardise that friendship and relationship I've still got with those players now. But they're my memories, and I've kept them.
It's lovely that, you know, to be part of that club for such a pivotal moment of its career. And
you know, people always ask me, you know, what was your key moments and all these sort of things, and I've repeated quite a few of them. And one of them for me that I'll never ever forget is the 2011 semi-final against United.
Yeah.
And it was first time big game at Wembley, and I'll never forget the United photographer, lovely bloke, really nice guy. He's been at United for years. And he was like, "Hey, Sharon, how's it going?" This was before the game. I went, yeah. He said, "Are you all sorted?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've got a spot over there and I've got a spot on that side, and whichever way we go first." And he went, "Brilliant, brilliant." He said, "So do you want me to walk on first for the coin toss, or do you want to go first?" And I went, "You are?" He said, "Oh, well, we'll be walking on the pitch for the coin toss." And I went, "Really?" And he's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. So then I'm thinking, the coin toss? When everybody's in the stadium, I'm going to get to walk on Wembley's pitch.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is just the best day ever. So it got to the moment, and I was like, okay, right, keep calm. And I saw Vinny come out with everybody. I saw everybody walking on, and then we literally, after they'd all broke up from doing the line-up and standing in front, they all went off, on we trotted. And I don't get, I keep my professional head, but I've never in my life experienced such noise and such emotion. I walked into the middle of that pitch and just burst into tears. Oh. I remember Vinny looking at me, and he tossed the coin, and we were stood there with the little pennants and all the rest of it. And Vinny was like looking at me going, as I was saying, "You all right? You all right?" And I was like, ooh, taking this falter. I was in bits. And I then remember walking back to just looking around me and thinking, I will remember this until I die. It's just fantastic. Tears streaming down my face. And David Silver spots me and he comes running over. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, "David, go play football. Go away." Yeah. And then I walked off, and my heart was in my mouth. It was just like the best moment ever. I mean, it was.
That must have been that must have been great from their perspective to see actually how much it means to you. And there's thousands of fans in this stadium thinking the same thing. This means a lot to us. Come on, guys.
Can you imagine the honour of doing that though?
That's amazing. It's absolutely
incredible.
And then the other honour, of course, is then you've just watched your friends, your teammates win the FA Cup, and you're going to go in the dressing room and photograph the celebrations, when all you want to do is sit down and neck a bottle of champagne out the cup with them, but you can't. And then they were just egging me on and wanting me to join in, and I had to literally focus and just take as much as I could. It was just, in that Wembley dressing room was amazing. And when we got the nod to say that I was doing that was me so excited. I was just over the moon about it.
Sleep the night before, I can imagine. One of them. Make sure your kit's ready. No. Double check your kit. Triple check your kit. Get everything ready.
Have I got my batteries? Yeah, is there enough SD cards? Is everything right? Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Amazing. I'm so happy for you. It's brilliant. That it's so the memories that it's just the whole. I bet it went really quickly.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like I was there as long as I was, and there was so many things that happened while I was there that it did go faster. But then, as I say, it was a big decision to sort of go, right, do I walk away from this, or do I do this for the rest of my life? Because I think I would have probably still stayed there for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody complained, unless I got really shit at taking photos. But I don't think anybody complained. I don't think I'd have had any grief about staying. But I just knew for my own career and for me, I couldn't stay any longer. So I made that decision. I thought I should stay a bit longer and just do it with Pep. And then I thought, well, no, because you've then got to get to know a whole new set of backroom staff and get to know Pep again. And if you leave then in a year, somebody else will have to do that, and it's not fair. So I thought, no, Pellegrini goes, you go. That was it.
Do you have a favourite City picture that you look at and you think, oh, this is brilliant work? When you step away and think, you know what, this is something. Have you got anything around your house where you've kind of like got that picture that you've taken? You know what, this is one of the best ones.
There's quite a few, but sometimes they're emotive pictures because of what was going on at the time. Like there's an amazing, and a lot of them are in that first Champions book that I did. And there's one of Joe spraying champagne all over the dressing room after the Premier League.
Jumping like that. Yeah.
There's one of Yaya hugging Joe, and there's so much motion in the photograph. It looks quite blurry, but the whole central part of Yaya and Joe is literally pin sharp, and I love that picture as well. Then there's another shot of Carlos, and I love. And I am going to do something with this. I don't know what you think, but I love fan shots. And I've got so many pictures of the crowds from various games, from 2012 Aguero game, from FA Cup games, from loads and loads of games. But there's one shot of Tevez, and he jumped into the stand to celebrate with his arms out in the whole crucifix motion. And it's just the back of him, so you can see Tevez, the back of him right smack in the fans, but because it's so pin sharp, you can see all of the faces of the crowd.
Amazing.
And you can look at that picture and see something different every time. Doesn't matter that guy scored that goal and the fans went mental. There's a guy with a carrier bag and he's shaking his carrier bag because Tevez is there in front of him, and there's a woman like this because he's literally jumped on top of her. It's just, I love that picture. Anything with fans in and emotional like that. I'll find it. Yeah, I'll put it on Twitter next time.
I'm going to share one very quickly that Sharon took.
Oh, yeah, go on.
All right, are you ready?
Go on.
And you see that?
Oh,
brilliant.
So that's one Sharon took for us.
Look. How old are they?
And I know you're good friends with Sweep as well. So
yes.
Yeah, you can see little Alfie there with his pen. I think Sean Wright had just signed the little ball for him, but yeah, that was Sharon taking pictures again of fans.
Oh, bless you, Sharon.
Players.
I tell you what, those golf carts were just the best thing ever in Portland. Because Portland's ground was so big and there were so many different things and you had to get from one bit to another. And Joe had been on loan to Birmingham. So he'd been away for the time that I'd been at City up until Portland. So I was told to go and pick him up because he arrived in Portland a couple of days after we got there. And someone said, go and get him, bring him on the golf trolley and bring him round to the goalie bit. So I was like, right, yeah. And I remembered racing down in this golf buggy and Joe's just stood there and I went, hiya! And he's like, all right. He'd never met me before. I was like, get in! And he went, who the fuck are you? I went, it's all right. I'm the photographer. Off we go. And he's like, you're a nutter. And that was it.
Best mates forever then. That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Sharon, did you say a minute ago that you'd done a book?
2 books.
Have you? Can you send me the links to them and we'll put them on our show notes to get them out there to people?
So they're both City books. There's Champions, which was straight after the 2012 win. And it featured pictures from the FA Cup as well.
Brilliant.
And then there was the Pellegrini Trophy win as well, 2014 as well. So there's hashtag Champions and then hashtag Champions 2. So there's 2 City books.
Perfect. I didn't know they existed, so it's good to
have.
Yeah,
I think they're on Amazon. I think you can still get them on Amazon. I think you can still get them on Amazon.
We'll get the links and stick them in the show notes. 100%. That's brilliant.
The club will love that because it's all the club's money.
Oh bless. Do you ever think of writing your own or your stories behind the scenes with Sharon, that type of thing? Do you ever think of writing a book?
Yeah. But I just think as well that I don't know. I just think
behind the lens.
Trust. Yeah, the trust that I gained with those players, I don't think I should spout all the stories.
Point, actually, yeah. It's like asking me to write a story about my mates, and it's actually, it's not worth it.
And I've made, as I say, I still speak to Koloff, I still speak to Edin, I still speak to Sean Wright Phillips, Wayne Bridge, Craig Bellamy. I've been down to his house for tea. Do you know? I still see all these guys and speak to them. Even Adebayo. And
How random, really.
and Joe, do you remember Joe? J-O?
Yeah.
Yeah, still speak to him.
We were just talking about him because you took a photo of me, Sharon, meeting Joe, and I posted it on our page yesterday.
Honestly, he was a top bloke. Didn't speak much English. Didn't need to.
That's exactly what I said. That, I mean, obviously he was new as well. And when I met him, I tried to engage him in a bit of conversation and he just smiled at me. And like, he just didn't have a clue what I was saying.
Yeah, I got a DM the other day from Rocky Santa Cruz. Rocky. Yeah. So, I, you know, to do a book, no.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, actually. Yeah, I get that.
I had the best time ever. I've made the greatest friends. And I'd never, ever want to jeopardise any of that because I'm getting older and you need your friends when you get older, don't you?
Oh, no, I love that. Especially your friends, your contact list. Yeah. Listen, you've moved on to... You name dropped Noel Gallagher 3 times in this chat, so I need to know how this happened.
So I before I did football photography, I did music photography, and I spent a huge amount of time trying to get in any sort of concert hall anywhere I could. That's what I wanted to do, and I had the pleasure of photographing Oasis at Main Road, which was just iconic. And again then at Etihad as well, when all the fucking flipping stands fell over. Do you remember?
Oh.
That was brilliant. So I'd never met them directly, but then once I started at City, they'd be in the boxes and they'd come down for photo shoots. And I remember one of the first photo shoots I did, and Noel was quick to sort of quote this to me when we did the boot launch. And the first shoot I did with Noel and Liam was with Carlos Tevez. And I had them stood there, and Liam had gone off doing something else, and then I just had Noel and Tevez stood there looking at me. And I saw Noel looking, and I remember I had a really tight T-shirt on at the time. And Carlos was making some comment about my boobs. And I remember Noel just looking, and I went, "You looking at my fucking tits, mate?" And he just went, no. And that was it. He come over afterwards and went, "You've got a gob on you, haven't you?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "Fucking hell." Anyway, then we just kept bumping into each other. And then obviously the split happened. And the club were like, the club sort of like made sure they were kept far enough away from each other. One was in one box on one stand. And but then I sort of like, I'd kept bumping into Noel in the chairman's lounge or whatever. And then as time went on and he got more involved in City. He started doing videos and stuff. And he did all sorts of things with Scully, his mate, as well, on video for City. So I was interacting with him more and more. And then he did a Radio X gig in the Apollo. I can't remember what date that was. And I got asked to shoot that by Radio X because I had friends that... And he saw me, so he said, "Oh, come backstage afterwards, come backstage." So I was like, wow, this is cool. This is very cool. So I got chatting to him. He went, "Oh," he was obviously pleased to know Man City's photographer because it was Man City. And it then just seemed to be that our paths crossed more and more, that we just became quite familiar. And then he's like, "Text me whenever you want." He gave me his number, and I was like, "Okay." He said, "Will you text me some pictures from last game?" And so that was it. And then when I was leaving in 2016, one of the last shoots I did was with Pep and Noel. So Pep came in, and the first interview that was done was with Noel. So it was filmed and all the rest of it, and I did the photographs for it, and Vinny came into the shoot as well. So, and Noel was like, "I can't believe you're leaving. It's weird, Shaz. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be weird without you." And I said, "What, you mean you're not going to get any more photographs free?" And he went, "Oh, don't start." He said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I've got lots of things I'm doing. I've got all sorts of plans." And he went, "Right." He said, "Well, give us a call, won't you?" I said, "Oh, yeah." So I thought, "Come on, Shaz." So I phoned him up and I went, "The next tour you're going on, can I come?" And he went, "Yeah." And that was it.
Wow.
So I've been touring with him now on, virtually all of his tours now since 2016.
Bonkers, that.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
So then in 2018, we went touring America, which was just brilliant and so much fun. And the pictures I was so pleased. And every time I showed him, he was like, these are just great. It looks like we're having so much fun. I said, well, we are. And he went, people need to see this. It's brilliant. I said, well, we could do a book. And he's like, yeah, let's do a book. And he's never, ever done a book. So we did a photo book. We did an interview with him about that tour in 2018. And we interwove interviews from every other band member of the High Flying Birds. And then we put all the pictures in. And it was put out in November 2018. And it's called Any Road Will Get You There If You Don't Know Where You're Going. Titled by Noel himself.
Love that. I love that. What a story.
Uh-huh.
It's bonkers that, really, isn't it? One phone call, one meeting, chatting, before you know it, sending pictures.
Yeah.
But are you happy? That's the question.
I think he's. There's a picture of him and Aguero hugging on the pitch, and Noel's got the captain's armband on because Vinny gave him the captain's armband, and that was 2014 trophy win, Premier League win. And Noel and Aguero are literally just hugging on the pitch, and I got this amazing shot. And I had it blown up and sent to him, and he's got that on his wall.
Oh, has he? I bet he loved you for that.
Top block.
Wow.
I think it's pretty phenomenal, really, how you got onto that. What's the future hold for you then? Are you going to carry on doing this for as long as you like? And have you got anything else planned?
I obviously, as well as doing the music photography as well, I built an app. So I've got this selfie guide. Yeah, and Joe's my business partner, Joe Hart.
Is he really?
Good lad. Yeah, so we've built that together, but unfortunately, with everything that's gone on with COVID, travel industry's now defunct. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. And music photography is not going to happen for a long time. We're not going to be doing gigs or sport or anything like that with people involved for quite a while. So the future's a bit uncertain at the moment. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I've got to wait and see what happens and just be positive and use my savings like I have done.
Yeah. Well, maybe, Sharon, we can get you back on air on a bit more of a regular basis, because
I'd love to come back. I'd love to come out to Portland.
I'm telling you, you are beloved by City fans. You probably know that already, but you know, we were talking probably like 2-3 years ago, you know, when I was saying to Tom and the rest of the admins, God, I know Sharon. Does anyone else know Sharon at City? And every one of us went, oh yeah, we know Sharon. I mean, you are beloved. You are part of the Manchester City fabric. I sincerely believe that.
I was blessed, and I still categorically say this, I was blessed to be at City at that time. I found it a massive honour to be able to be there and photograph those moments in time that are never, ever going to be repeated. We're never going to see my arse in front of a trophy lift again anytime soon for the first time in 30-odd years, are we? Yeah, exactly. And we're never, ever going to have a Premier League win like the Aguero day.
No.
We're never going to have that. And I captured all those moments.
And everything.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. It's incredible. And I look back on it with complete fondness, and I've been interviewed in all sorts of stuff, and I'll gladly talk about it until I die, because it's one of the core things that happened to me in my life, and it's a massive part of my life.
You talk about it with so much passion as well, Sharon. It's brilliant. It's really
love it. And people say to me, "Oh, would you not go back?" and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no. Because I've done it, I did it, and it's a time and it's a moment in time that will never be forgotten. It's a different time now, it's a different era, and we've got a wonderful photographer now, Victoria. Victoria was my intern when I was there, and she's now the club photographer. She's an incredible photographer. Yeah, another woman. Gutton.
Oh, listen, Sharon, I can't thank you enough for coming and chatting on us. You really made.
No problem.
I was knackered before on this, but your energy has absolutely vitalised me. It's brilliant to talk to you and get that infectious attitude on here. It's great.
No problem. Anytime, if you need me again, just give me a shout.
Oh, you know what?
Sharon, thank you so much.
No problem.
No problem.
I'll bring the kids on next time, Sharon, as well, so you can see them. Because
how old are they now?
So Alfie is 14 now, the grumpy teenager, and my daughter Harriet is 12 now. So yeah, I'll bring them on next time we talk to them.
So pretty. I remember just being a little doll. She was so lovely.
Yeah. I keep her in the
incredible. That's weird. That's like proper history. And then you can look back and there they are as adults. That's scary stuff.
It is. And true blues all the way. That's the good thing.
But do you know what, as well? I get people messaging me saying, oh, you took a photograph of my kid and he wasn't well and he came on and he was a mascot and you took pictures of him and you talked to him in the tunnel and stuff like that. And I love that. That's like I said before, I love the fact that fans are as important, because I know it's cliche, but it is the 11th, 12th person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those fans and that era as well, and those fans, just epic.
Love it.
Oh, we better love you and leave you, Sharon, and leave you and your cats to crack on.
You make me sound like a really, hip sort of chick. You and your cats.
Oh, I love it. I love it. There's one. There we go. I only want cat pictures from now on, Sharon, please.
Yeah, there's the other one.
Love it.
Oh,
the dizzy heights of my life in lockdown with 2 freaking cats.
Yeah. Oh, bless you.
That's my mission. After this, my mission is to find a man. I'm sick of being freaking single. 16 freaking years, and I blame City for a lot of it.
7 days a week working, we'll do that for you,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And amongst all those beautiful men, it's like walking in a candy shop. Oh, you can't have that. You're too fat.
Oh, bless you so much. Thank you so much for chatting to us, Sharon. I really enjoyed it.
I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks very much.
Right. Thanks,
See you
Sharon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.